بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So I was raised in half of my life. Came to the US when I was 14 years old. My dad, brought us. He was here for a long time in Ghazali. So he brought us when I was about 14 years old. I went to college and alhamdulillah, I was giving khutbah since I was 17 years old in different massages across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So up to this point, everything was fine. So right after college, what you should do? You get married. Okay? So I said, okay, let me go try to find a spouse. That was 16 years ago. So I went and I started asking people, I'm looking for a wife. And subhanAllah, everybody turned red. Everyone I asked him, he gets so shy that his face turned, he's embarrassed to even talk about it, right? So for the first time, I realized that this is a situation where it's difficult. It's not easy. There's complexity we have in finding a spouse. Unlike back home, especially if you come from a Muslim country, all you have to do, your mom will take care of it. Your mom, your aunt, she already knows. All you have to do is just get ready. As soon as you say yes, she will take you, done. Khalas. It's easy. Okay. The challenge we have in the US, that United States, many people don't realize. If you want to go from one state to another state, a lot of times it requires that you fly. It's a continent. So we're speaking about a continent. So Muslims are so spread out on this continent, right? And it's unlike back home where your mom, she knows everyone, right? She knows these couple of ladies, her friends, and they have a group, and within that group you could think of any name, she knows it, right? Or one of these ladies, her friends will know, right? So it's much easier. So what we did, then alhamdulillah, I was able to find the right person, alhamdulillah, and I got married. So what I told my wife is, let's do something. I know a lot of guys, I don't know many guys. You know a lot of you don't know many guys. So why don't we try to work on something that will be able to, help our friends. So we started with friends. So we started helping from back about 15 years ago. Alhamdulillah, because I know brothers and friends from ICNA and other organizations, alhamdulillah, it went big, right? Alhamdulillah, and it's one of the largest organizations in US right now. I want to spend a few minutes and telling you some of the challenges that we're facing as a community. Right? The first one of the first challenges is we delay marriages. We delayed for our kids, and we compare the marriages of the non-Muslims to the marriages of the Muslims. While it's totally different. The non-Muslims get married to settle. They do whatever they want until they're tired. And then they want to marry to settle. Oh, okay, we're tired. Okay, I've been with you for the last 15 years. Why don't we just get married? Right? This is how they do it. For Muslims, it's totally the opposite, right? It's having a spouse in your life, right? Which when they teach us the psychology, right? It's the necessity of life after food and shelter is having a spouse. It's a necessity, right? When you don't have this, there is physically you face some challenges in your life, right? So another institute, one of the institutes, they did a survey on why are the youth having a difficult time, and of course over 18, having difficult times getting married. And sorry for all the parents here, what the survey, not me, what the survey came to say, one of the most difficult challenges facing the youth is their parents. They're the one who say, why marry now, man? Just go have fun. Do you see what I'm in? You don't want to be like this. just don't even talk about marriage. Of course, don't tell them. That mic's
you can hear it.
So they say that, right? have fun. On the other hand, they told them, don't do anything haram. So they told them, go have some fun, but at the same time, don't do anything. Should they have fun or should they, I mean, how could you mix the two? What should they do? I mean, someone give me a formula that you can have fun without doing something harmful, right? So what happened is, especially the students in college and right after, especially during the college time, end of high school and so on, they become what we call physical hypocrisy. When they're home, they act something. When they're outside, they're totally different, right? And you say, well, when we were young, and you're still, again, you're comparing back home, to what's happening in US. US in middle school, people just get together, right? So boyfriends and girlfriends happen at middle school level. So, and then we tell our kids, we tell our sons and daughters, wait, until when? Finish your bachelor, get your master, and get your PhD, get a job, and then we'll see if it's about time. And then we'll think about it, then we'll talk, right? So you see some brothers who have, wallahi, I know some brothers who have white beard, they have few white beards, and they're still not married because they're still getting their PhDs, right? So that's one. Secondly, as people get older, they're challenged, and I've been doing this for the last 15 years, right? So I'm telling you from my experience. The older you get, the more challenging you get. It gets, especially if you're a girl, right? Education, you reach a level where education doesn't care. It doesn't matter anymore, right? You have a master's degree and you're 29 years old or you're 30 years old, and then there's another girl who's 22. When a person is looking for a marriage, who would he pick? You reach a level where education, how high you go, guys don't really care about it, right? So it just becomes difficult as you go on. So just keep that in mind when we're dealing with our youth. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, the Sheikh, mashallah, I came here I think 2 years ago, and mashallah, one of the amazing Sheikhs, may Allah bless you and bless your Sheikh. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he went out. Umar ibn Khattab, when you say Umar ibn Khattab, everybody knows Umar ibn Khattab. He went out and he was searching for a spouse. Right? He went to qualified person, right? To some of the Sahaba, and he asked him for his daughter, right? And he said, would you marry my daughter? And the first said no. He said no. Imagine telling Umar ibn Khattab no. What did he do? He went to a second one, and he asked him, would you marry my daughter? And he said, no, I'm not interested. Then what did he do? He went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and complained, right? So taking it serious is a wisdom, right? Is the wisdom of the parents. If in Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, right, when they asked him, Ya abati ista'jirhu, inna khayra man ista'jarta qawiyyun amin. Oh my dad, hire this person, right? Inna khayra man, the first one, he's a qawi, strong, and he's amin, he's a trustworthy. So the father, what did he do? He said, Inni uridu an unkihaka ihda ibnatayn. What does this have to do with this? She's telling him, why don't you hire him? He seemed like a strong man, he seemed like a wise man, he seemed like a trustworthy. And he's telling him, would you marry my daughter? It's the wisdom, right? It's the wisdom of the individuals. So this is my advice to you, inshallah. This is a serious issue that we have. My advice to all of you is try to help, if you have a friend who has a daughter, try to remind them that, you know what? It's about time. It takes $5. Anyone can guess how long it takes to find a spouse or to get married from the time you search for a spouse until the time you get married? Just, yes.
4 years.
4 years. 4 years. Anybody?
2 years.
2 years. And 1 year?
1 year.
1 year?
20 years. 5 days.
5 days? MashaAllah. Takbir. Subhanallah. Alhamdulillah. We're gonna talk after. Anyone else?
6 years.
6 years?
No.
2 years? Anyone else? The average in my last 15 years The average, it takes about 5 to 7 years. The average. Once you say, I'm ready. Once you say, I'm ready. It takes about 5 to 7 years. This is how difficult it is, right?
It's still difficult. It's still difficult.
It is.
Not changing now. So maybe after.
Inshallah.
Can you talk about your organization?
So,
Solution, it was Mustafa.
so the organization, and there's few other ones just like ours. We're helping out. This is MVM team. I had to rush to the hospital for a friend of mine. He wasn't feeling well, so I didn't bring any materials. So I had something in the car, so I brought it here. I have a few cards. I'm gonna leave it here, inshallah. It's MVM team. Some of you probably heard of. It's a free service for the last 15 years. Of course, there is a paid service, but the default since 2003 it's been free. All you have to do is just create a profile for you, or if you have a daughter, or to let her create a profile, or you could do it on her behalf. There's a few different options when you do this. You create a profile, and then the team can help you. So we have some of the members, our team members in New Jersey, Maryland, and other states.
Should you take somebody? Two questions. Should you take somebody, every mosque, not one mosque? I think if you got many ground, this best. Maybe you found some people here,
yes.
Collectively.
MashaAllah, this is an excellent point, and may Allah bless you, inshallah. This is a very good point. What I suggest, and MashaAllah, you have a very active imam, and you know, every mosque who has an active imam, the community is blessed. Wallah al-Azim, I'm serious. Like Sheikh Qatanani and Basek and a few other ones. When you have an active imam, it changes the community. So what I suggest here, as well as our brother said, is have some people whose, brothers, especially sisters, they're very good at that, right? Have some people who is responsible for anyone that comes in. So they go to the imam send it to that person, or send it to this organization, whatever the case is. So that way, these can actually help the community member, and they will be connecting to other masajid as well.
You mentioned about the parents are the problem, which is you recommend kids getting married without a job?
So it's a tricky question. And let me take a step back, right? So, that's according to the survey, right? So remember, that's what I said. According to the survey, not according to what I think. According to the students who's at the time of marriage, the survey asked them, what's holding you back? Right? And they're saying our parents. Okay. And it's a good point. Should we get the kids married before they before they get a job? Right? And that depends on why should they get a job first. Right? So this is the way we have it traditionally. You have to get a job before you get married. Okay. Why? Why do I have to get a job before I get married? Okay, well, because you have to sustain yourself, you have to have a place. So what we suggest, and it's a suggestion, if you can afford to help your son or your daughter throughout that stage, right? Throughout that stage, while they're in college, as long as you think they will be able to do well in college while they're married, then see if you can help them out. What happens is, we work. We work for who? For our kids. But we will not give them anything until they finish college so they can work. And then they're going to work until they die for their kids. But they will not let their kids get married until they get a job so they can spend. So why are they making money in the first place? Right? So during the time of college, right, if you see there's other kids, I won't say kids, adults. Everyone that we're talking about is over 18. There is adults who don't want, the parents, please get married. And he's like, no, I'm not ready. Please get married. No, I'm not ready. So there's the other side, where their parents are begging the young man to get married, and they're saying, I'm not into it. So, but if you see your son or daughter is ready for marriage, right? my advice, if you can help them, right, help them. Don't say, wait until college, wait until you're done with college, because you're telling them just, you know, if you look at how the human development, right, you see the development of the human being, the body of the man or woman, as they develop at a very young age, right? In the United States, it was decided recently, in the last many decades back, but not very far away, that 18 is a right. Why? Not only physically, but mentally, right? So 18, right, is the right time where you should actually start. And by the way, what I say is, when you start looking for your son or daughter at 18, they're not going to get married at 18. Trust me. We're saying it takes years to find someone. It really does. Right? A lot of people don't realize that. From the moment you tell your son or daughter, now I think it's about time to start searching, it takes years. Okay? So start when you feel that they are right, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you.
Any other question about that, especially about the process of, or actually the service that they are giving?
How do you guys match them?
So what is the service exactly?
So the service, it's a matchmaking service. What we do is there's singles around the US who create the profiles on the website, MVM team. And what we do is we have volunteers across different masajids. So every masjid, they have volunteer from there who's active into that, into that matchmaking. They will go on the site and they will try to match. When you create a profile for your daughter or your son or yourself or whatever the case is, this profile is private. In other words, another single who goes in, they cannot search all the singles and see pictures. It's different. It's only for the admin. It's only for the matchmakers who match, not for the singles to match. So they match and they will contact you when we have a match for you. So,
do you guys check up any background checkups, anything?
It's an optional, but we don't do that. Like out of default, we don't do background check. But we usually recommend people, when at the time of marriage, you do two things. Background check is one, and secondly is a medical checkup. Right? Very, very important. Medical checkup is very important. I always tell people, and I still say, oh, alhamdulillah, we got married. Did you get a medical? No, I didn't. You got to do this. Regardless of whether you trust the person, it has nothing to do with it. But you have to do medical checkup. You should do background check. These are the two. And you should also check their friends. Their friends will tell you who they are, regardless of what they say about themselves.
How's the matching? How do they decide how this person would match this person?
So it's the way it works is the matchmakers will look. So there is two sections. One section that talks about who you are, and one section that talks about what you're looking for. Okay. So this is two sections. Then on the other side, there's two people that you want to match to, right? So one side has two parts, what he wants and what his information is. The other side has also two parts. What is she and what she's looking for. So there is 4 areas that need to match. All of them got matched. So once we find that match between these 4 areas, then the match happens. Then you start to actually communicate between the two and see. And it's very, very difficult. We always think, I'm only looking for a girl. Just, mashallah, as long as she's mutadayyana, it's good. Alhamdulillah, it's easy. Anything else? Yeah, I have a few more lists. So, it's usually the case.
What's the percentage of after you find a match that would actually succeed and lead to?
So here's an advice for everyone. Okay, and I think it's very important. So 90% when you go to MVMT, our service is like you see free all over the place. There is a service that it's on the site that it's hidden. It's called upscale service. We recently, in the last 3 years, we start offering this based on complaints that we get. The brother says, we told him we have a whole list of many singles that we're having. So when your turn comes, we'll get back to you. But they don't want to. They says, we're ready to pay. Why don't you hire someone who will do it as a dedicated service. I'm in IT management. You know, my wife is teacher, and so on. We only help a few, and everybody else is working, so we don't have time to actually do this. So we have someone who's working at a full time that they will actually match singles on a dedicated site. So coming to your question, it depends. If you're on a free service, it takes a longer time. If you're on a paid service, it's much faster because you have someone who's working.
No, I wasn't asking about that. I was asking after you actually find a match between two, what the percentage of this match actually succeeding or leading to marriage?
يعني صفر لأن 100 يعني it usually doesn't work. بس بترجع بالنصيب يعني زي ما أخونا قال يعني كله اسمه some works right away alhamdulillah they get and alhamdulillah they see the films and others doesn't. Here's the trick, my brother. The more conditions you put on yourself, the harder it gets for you to get married. And by the way, one thing that we found is, especially for the girls, the higher the education she has, and I know brother maybe probably gonna beat me after this, the higher her education is, the more difficult for her to get married. Trust me. Trust me.
I told you, don't send them to school.
And I'm not saying what to do, but I'm just telling you, the higher her education, the far more difficult. Like if you ask me, based on my 15 years experience, you tell me this is my daughter, this is information, I can tell you right away how easy or difficult for her to get married. You tell me she has an associate degree, which is less than a bachelor degree, versus someone, if you tell me that my daughter has a PhD, I can assure you that if you have two daughters, twins, the one who has an associate degree will have a much faster, she has a better chance of getting married sooner than the one with a PhD.
This is the survey or your opinion?
That's what I have seen in the last 15 years.
Survey or your opinion?
That's my opinion. That's my experience.
I think you're wrong.
Absolutely, I could be totally wrong. Absolutely, it's only.